This video is about self-sabotage, but before I get into the topic, I want to tell you about a sabotage that YouTube is committing against my channel. YouTube is throttling my channel. That means that they are not showing my content to prospective new viewers. And so because of that, I'm asking you, who are presumably a regular viewer of my channel, to please share my content to other people who might not know about it. You got friends, you got, I don't know, college roommates or something like that, and you enjoy my content, you think some of my videos are worthwhile? Well, thank you very much, but I'd ask you, rather than to tell me that you like my videos, to please share them. All it takes is to take a link of one of the videos of mine that you really enjoy and put it up on your Facebook page or whatever you kids are up to insofar as social media is concerned. Just share that link to 2-3 other people, okay? And tell them that you thought that the video was valuable. That's the only way that my channel will grow, because YouTube is trying to squash it. They're throttling it. It's like my channel is my little baby, and they're taking a pillow, a very soft pillow filled with, you know, goose down feathers and shit, and just trying to smother my channel in the crib. Okay, that's what these fucking bastards are doing, and I see that every day. And I've seen videos of mine that should have gone viral that didn't. That didn't because somebody at YouTube just doesn't like my shit. You know, they don't like my material because it goes against the mainstream, against their ideology, you know? I mean, I'm as far from woke as you can possibly get, for crying out loud. And that's why they are trying to throttle my channel. They are throttling it de facto, okay? And it's not just me. I'm not so egotistical as to think that they've just targeted me. No, they're targeting a whole bunch of people who are just like me. You know, we are dissidents from the mainstream narrative. We don't buy the brand of bullshit that they're trying to peddle, okay? And we're telling people like you, that what the mainstream is saying is just a bunch of bullshit. And because of that, they're trying to throttle my channel, trying to kill it. And so that's why I'm asking you, who are getting something out of my videos, to share my videos. Thanks. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. So let's get into the video. Self-sabotage is one of the most pernicious things that can happen to a guy. We've got a good thing going, whatsoever it may be, with a woman, with a job or a business, a social group, whatever it might happen to be, and we start doing things almost at an unconscious level that fucks up the good thing that we've got going for us. And you know, you got to ask yourself, well, why is it, you know? Why is it that a man does this? Why is it that you do this? Why is it that you act in a way that will kill the golden goose that you've got in your life? And it's very simple. What happens is that a lot of times we have something very good going on in our lives that, though it is good, it's not what we really want. And we feel dissatisfied with it. In other words, we feel trapped by it. We do not feel that we are growing because of it. And we want to essentially kill it because we feel that, in a very real sense, our continued existence depends on us killing this thing. We start to self-sabotage the good thing we've got going because there is a part of us that feels that this thing that seems to be good is actually bad. It's actually a cancer on our lives. And we want to get rid of it because this thing, this good thing, is actually encroaching on a part of ourselves that is valuable to us, that is essential to us, even when we sometimes cannot articulate what that thing is. Let me give you a specific example. The self-sabotage that I have done in my life. More than once, I have been in a situation where I have been incredibly fortunate insofar as my work life is concerned. Specifically when I was writing novels for a living. Okay, now this was in the early 2000s, actually the late 90s, right? I scored an enormous book deal. I mean, huge money, yeah? And all I had to do was write these thrillers, right? Write these thrillers, and if I were to write one thriller per year, which I could do because I was a very fast writer, I would earn enormous sums of money, okay? Because I was being set up to be that thing, to be the Robert Ludlum of my generation, okay? I was fresh out of college. I'd written some stuff. I'd written a couple of novels that would remain unpublished, of course, the typical crap that you write when you're growing up as a writer. And I wrote this thriller. And by magic, really, by just a series of very incredible coincidences and good fortune, I landed this incredibly good agent who placed it with an incredibly good publisher for an enormous amount of money. And it was expected that I would write one of these thrillers every year and be this little factory of thrillers for the commercial fiction market. I was supposed to be an airport writer, you know, the kind of book that is in the airport, some silly thriller that you read while you're on the plane and you can polish off in a LA to New York flight, yeah? Like Robert Ludlum books. That's what I was supposed to be. That's the kind of writer I was supposed to be. And I was given this tremendous opportunity, shit tons of money, published in translations in over a dozen languages, right? I mean, it was just, it was handed to me on a silver platter, and I should have been thrilled. But instead of being thrilled, I started to self-sabotage the situation that I had. Yeah, it started with me developing a very antagonistic relationship with my editor. Yeah? She was sort of blameless, right? The big fault that I can see retrospectively is that she didn't really explain what was expected of me, and she didn't sort of like maneuver me into realizing how easy what was desired of me could be for me to fulfill, right? We had an antagonistic relationship at first. That was the first thing that should have been warning signs that I was self-sabotaging, right? And then what happened was that I had writer's block. And because of this writer's block, and it was true, I simply could not write my follow-up book, right? I tried and tried and tried, and it just didn't come. That should have been a second warning sign, but it was excused away. The first time, the fighting with the editor, it was interpreted as, oh, he's temperamental, but he's such a good writer, because I was a good writer and I was a very fast writer. Now, having a writer's block was interpreted as, oh, all this pressure and all the rest of it. And finally I delivered another novel, and it was actually better than the first novel, right? And so there was this expectation of he can still salvage his career, he could still be this thing, right? Even though the second novel, rather than being delivered, a year after the first, was delivered close to 4 years after the first, right? But it was very, very good, and it found a publisher. It was put out. It was sold for a shit ton of money to the movies, so that Sidney Pollack could produce it and Anthony Minghella could write and direct it, right? It was bought by Harvey Weinstein. That's how I know the son of a bitch. But anyway, I was on my way, but I kept self-sabotaging my career. I mean, I got to the point where I didn't even take my agent's calls, yeah, because I hated being a writer, or let me rephrase that. I was just trying to kill my own career, even though I had an incredible career. I had the goose that laid the golden eggs, and I was killing it little by little. And of course, now as a much older man with much more experience, I realized what was going on. See, I couldn't stand the notion that I had to be repeating myself over and over and over again to have a successful career. Because ultimately, that's what was expected of me. You look at a John Grisham novel, right? John Grisham, I admire him because every year he comes out with a new book. And it's been like almost 30 years since his first book. And every year he comes out with a new book. And it's, another legal book, right? It's another law book. I don't really know. I haven't read him in decades, right? But I know more or less what kind of books he's writing. And he's successful, and they're bestsellers, and they make him a shit ton of money every year because he is delivering, okay? And that's what was expected of me, to write the same book over and over and over again. And what happened is that as a writer, I couldn't handle that. I couldn't handle it, and there was something else going on too, of course, is that, I realized only long after the fact that I wrote fiction when I was unhappy, okay? I wrote novels, stories, what have you, when I was feeling very unhappy and very miserable with my life. And it gave me distraction to write. I didn't care about writing per se. I've never dreamed of being a writer. I just was a writer. I was good at it. But it wasn't like a lifelong ambition and something I dreamed about being and having my little cabin in the woods where I could write all day. Fuck that. No, I liked partying and having a good time and meeting girls and having a social life. And the idea of being a writer cooped up in a room was not attractive. I only wrote when my life was in a shambles. And so what happened was that in order for me to have a career, I had to have my life in a perpetual shambles, you see? And so that's why I was self-sabotaging myself. I was going against myself, you see? I was going against myself because the thing that gave me a lot of money and potentially a huge career was going against the kind of life that I saw for myself, the kind of man that I was, you see? And so I was self-sabotaging my career as a writer because I felt, correctly or not, it doesn't really matter, but I felt that that life as a writer was smothering my life, and it was a struggle to survive. And see, that's the thing about self-sabotage. See, a lot of times what's going on is that you start to sabotage your own life, fuck up your, romantic relationship, fuck up your business relationships or work relationships, because the thing that you are doing, the thing that is laying the golden eggs, is not something that you particularly care for. You see? You see this with YouTubers of all people all the fucking time. Yeah, you get some YouTuber, and he did maybe 2 or 3 videos, and then all of a sudden his second or third video just explodes. It gets like 1 million views, right? And so the guy starts doing that video that got like 1 million views, trying to repeat that success over and over again, right? And he tries his darndest to do it, right? He doesn't really know why that particular video exploded, but it did. So he tries to do that same video, and he hates it, but he still does it because it makes him money. Because there's a lot of money to be made in YouTube, okay? No fooling around, okay? A video that gets, 1 million views, 1 million views at a CPM of, say, $7, that's $7,000. That's a lot of money. If somebody can be producing a 1 million view video every month, that can be $7 grand a month. That's a pretty good salary, for crying out loud. That's 84 grand just off of the ad revenue, okay? So some guy who does that, who's like second or third video explodes and becomes like a viral video, he's gonna try to repeat that success. And he's gonna be trapped in that success. And it's gonna make him miserable. And he's gonna be chasing that dragon, chasing that video that was a success. He'll try to repeat it and do it, whatever he can to repeat it over and over again, right? And every time he's successful, he's going to hate himself a little bit more. And so he's going to start to self-sabotage or just burn out, right? Why do you think so many YouTubers burn out? Yeah, because of that. Because they are doing videos that they fucking hate. But it turned out that, it was the third or fourth video that they made and went viral, and so they realized that that was the formula, and they tried to repeat that formula, and they fucking hate it. And parenthetically, in my own case, insofar as YouTubing is concerned, I went like 15 fucking months that nobody saw my videos, right? And so when finally my channel sort of like started taking off, right? Yeah, I was doing the videos that I enjoy doing, so I'm not going to burn out. I'm going to keep on doing this shit because I find it a lot of fun, because I'm doing the thing that I naturally find enjoyable. But there is a common thread, see? Early success. You're dating the hottest girl in class, right? The hottest girl in high school or college or wherever the fuck, right? And you're dating her, and everybody's like, wow, you're dating the hottest chick around and so forth. And you fucking hate her. And you do things in your relationship that are almost like consciously designed to make her leave you. And she doesn't, okay? Because of course, women, when they have challenges, they never leave a guy. Oh, no. When a guy is quote unquote difficult, it's like a fucking aphrodisiac, but that's another video. The point is, see, you start like self-sabotaging the relationship you've got. You've got this great relationship with this great girl. She's so hot, and she's so smart, and she's so charming, and she's so this, that, and the other. But you keep trying to sabotage it. Why? Because it's not what you really wanted, yeah? But you got it. And it's such a good thing that you feel that you can't throw it overboard and try to find something better. And so you hold on to it, even though you fucking hate it, even though it doesn't really satisfy you. In the case of these YouTubers who found, enormous success with a video, and they try to repeat that even though they fucking hate making those kinds of videos. Or in the case of, like my own case, I found huge success in a genre that I didn't particularly care for and that I'd done almost like an exercise for fun. And I'm sort of like stuck having to do the same book over and over again, and I couldn't, right? Because I fucking hated it, right? Or in the case of a guy who's dating like the perfect girl and he fucking hates her because she might be beautiful and charming and smart and all the rest of it, but she just doesn't fit with him, you know? And all these people self-sabotage their great situation because they're afraid of admitting that this great thing that they have is not for them. And this takes enormous maturity. It takes enormous maturity and self-knowledge to recognize when some golden goose in your life is just not for you and that you should leave it behind. Yeah, frankly, I have never met anyone who is young who has had that kind of self-discipline. I've met older guys who've done that. Older guys who have already been through this, you know, they already know the rodeo, right? They've been to this rodeo and here they are maybe the second or maybe even the third time, and they realize that this golden goose in their life, yeah, it's not for them, and they leave it behind, yeah? But for a young person, yeah, for you potentially, it's very hard. It's very hard, it's almost impossible. A lot of times you can't even articulate why you are so unhappy because you don't have enough life experience to discern why this golden goose in your life is making you so unhappy. It takes discipline, it takes really introspection. Looking at yourself and asking yourself, why am I trying to fuck up this good thing? I've got this great thing. You know, I'm a pop singer, say, for instance. I'm a pop singer, you know, with millions of fans, and I keep doing shit to piss them off. Why? What's going on? It takes so much introspection and self-discipline, okay? And if you're a young person who's able to do this, man, then you're certainly a better man than I'll tell you that right now. But okay, I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole here. Let me get back on track to what I want to say, okay? What I want to say is, see, when you find yourself in a position of self-sabotaging your great situation of killing the golden goose in your life, if you're like running around with a little dagger to kill the little shit, right? And doing everything you can to kill it, then you got to stop. And you got to ask yourself, what's going on with me? Because it's not the golden goose, okay? It's not this great thing that you have in your life. That is not at fault, okay? That thing that's so great, you got to realize what happened. You got lucky. You got lucky and you got this golden goose. Like in my case with this big career as a writer, as a novelist, or like the case of the guy who's dating the perfect girl and he can't stand her, yeah? Yeah, you got lucky, and you got to admit that. Admit that you got lucky, and then start looking into your heart and ask yourself, what is it about this golden goose, this great good fortune that I have that makes me so unhappy? Or, harder still, what do I need to be happy, and what is it that this golden goose cannot give me that would make me happy? You see? I mean, this is so fucking hard. But it's something that you most definitely have to do, because if you don't, you're going to wind up fucking up your life, okay? There are a lot of guys who start self-sabotaging their life, not by, like in my case, you know, pissing off the editor or not delivering on a book. No, there are guys who start going into booze, into drugs, heavy, okay? And they become alcoholics, they become drug addicts, you know. They start doing all kinds of crazy ass shit, you know, driving drunk when they know better, you know, fucking hookers without a condom, or doing all kinds of crazy ass shit, right? This self-sabotage that's going on can have disastrous consequences, life-altering consequences. Okay, so it's not a trivial problem. On the contrary, it's the problem of people who are too lucky. It's the problem of people who, like I said, they got the golden goose in their lives, right? But it's not making them happy. And the thing is, see, if you do not, how can I put it? If you do not square up to this problem and try to fix this problem, if you do not look at yourself and realize what's going on, and realize that your self-destructive attitudes are not because you are flawed in some way. They are not because you're a bad person or some shit like that. No. What's going on is that, see, you do not like that golden goose in your life, but you don't have the courage to toss it out of your life and do something else. That's the problem that's going on. Okay? And it is so fucking hard. Okay? Because a lot of times this golden goose that you have in your life is something that you were striving towards. In my case as a writer, I moved out to Hollywood to make it as a writer. And I started, optioning some scripts. I had a little bit of success there. And I worked on this novel. And I thought that this was the life that I wanted. And it was only after I actually got it, when I was getting fistfuls of fucking money, that I realized it was not what I wanted. And it was in fact something that I hated. I hated because I hated the process of it. I hated the daily grind of being a writer at that time. The funny thing is that as I've gotten older, I enjoy it. I enjoyed shitloads more because I've become a different man, okay? I mean, I'm talking about shit that happened 25 fucking years ago or some shit like that, right? Okay, I mean, today, I'm a different man altogether, okay? But back at that time, no, at that time, I was killing my career, and I didn't understand it. I didn't even realize that I was killing my career, for crying out loud. I was that blind to my situation. And I didn't realize that what I had to do was take this golden goose and give it back. Give it back and say, no, thank you, I'm good. That is so fucking hard, yeah? But it's what you have to do. Because like in my case, the things that I did to sabotage my own life were comparatively trivial. But there are men, decent men, good men, smarter than you and me put together, who wind up going for the booze, the drugs, coke, hookers, and all kinds of stupid shit, trying to escape from the golden goose in their life. And they wind up destroying their life permanently. Not like a little blip. They kill it. They kill it for good. Okay? You got to be very careful about that shit. Okay? The second you realize that you are trying to self-sabotage your life, the second you realize it at any conscious level, you got to stop right then and there and ask yourself, what the fuck is going on with me? Why am I trying to undercut this great situation that I currently have? Why is it that I'm picking a fight with this perfect girlfriend that I have? Why is it that I'm talking back to my boss at this great job that I have, and I'm talking back to him over some petty ass bullshit, Why am I not writing anymore or picking fights with my fucking editor? Why am I doing this? You have to ask yourself those questions. Because if things are going great in your life, if you're just sailing smooth, then you obviously are not self-sabotaging, and so just move on. Keep on doing what you're doing, right? But when you start doing stupid shit that undercuts your situation, ask yourself why you're doing it and look into your heart. It's fucking hard. I mean, I keep repeating this shit in this video, that you have to look into yourself. But examining yourself is the most important thing that you can do. Socrates himself said it 3,000 fucking years ago, know thyself, yeah? Yeah, it's easy to fucking say that. It's fucking hard to do it. But that's what you have to do. You have to look into your heart and understand why you are killing this golden goose in your life, why you are undercutting this good fortune. Why is it making you so unhappy? And figure out what makes you happy. That's the hardest thing possible, by the way. It's easier to figure out things that you don't like rather than things that you do like. But try to figure out what the things are that you do like and how you can either make this golden goose that you have closer to that, if possible, or else figure out where is the escape hatch and just chuck that golden goose and go out and find a new one.